Do the Work by Steven Pressfield. Picture this, a massive empty field stretching out before you. On one side stands a knight in armor, and that knight is you. On the opposite side, a dragon. But here's the twist. This isn't some fantasy creature from a bedtime story. This dragon is real. It lives inside you, and it has a name: resistance. This field is where your entire life unfolds, where every dream you've ever dared to imagine either comes to life or dies a quiet death. So today we're diving into a book that's less like a traditional book and more like a survival guide for warriors. It's called Do the Work by Steven Pressfield. And let me tell you about Pressfield. This guy isn't some theory-spinning professor in a comfortable office. He spent decades in the creative trenches, getting his teeth kicked in again and again. Long before he wrote best-selling historical novels like Gates of Fire or the legendary The War of Art, he was just another struggling writer drowning in rejection letters. He knew the dragon we're talking about on a first-name basis. He learned all its dirty tricks, heard every whisper of self-doubt it could conjure, and felt every seductive promise that tomorrow would be easier if he just quit today. Do the Work is the hard-won wisdom from those brutal years. It's compact, razor-sharp, and pulls absolutely no punches. This isn't about color-coding your calendar or waking up at 5 in the morning. It's about understanding the invisible enemy that lives in all of us, the one actively trying to prevent us from doing anything meaningful. Whether that's writing your novel, launching your business, or finally getting in shape. Here's what I'm promising you right now. By the end of this episode, you won't just understand this invisible saboteur. You'll have a battle-tested strategy to defeat it. You'll discover why starting feels like moving a mountain, why the middle of any project feels like you're trapped in quicksand, and why the final push to finish is where actual heroes are forged. This isn't some productivity pep talk. This is about becoming who you were always meant to be. So let's step onto that battlefield, stare that dragon down, and figure out exactly how to win. Every epic tale begins with a hero facing an impossible challenge. Your challenge is that project burning in your chest, that calling that won't leave you alone. But standing between you and that dream is an enemy. An invisible, ruthless force with one single mission: to stop you cold. Steven Pressfield gives this enemy a name: resistance. Resistance is that sudden compulsion to reorganize your desk when you should be writing. It's the irresistible urge to check your phone, make another coffee, or literally do anything except the one thing you actually need to do. It's that voice whispering, "You're not talented enough," "Who are you kidding?" or everyone's favorite, "You can start tomorrow." Pressfield breaks down resistance's key traits. First, it's invisible, yet you feel it in your bones. It's like trying to push two magnets together, that repelling force radiating from the work you know you need to do. Second, it's sneaky and a total liar. It'll say anything to keep you paralyzed. It'll sweet-talk you, bully you, or put on a lawyer's suit and present a seemingly logical case for why you should wait. It has zero conscience. Third, resistance is completely impersonal. It's not targeting you specifically because it doesn't even know your name. It's a force of nature, like gravity pulling you down or wind pushing against you. This is actually good news because it means you shouldn't take its attacks personally. Every single human being with a pulse experiences resistance. And here's the fascinating part. Resistance is unfailing. Like a compass needle pointing north, it always points directly at what matters most to your soul. The more resistance you feel toward something, the more essential it is to your growth, so you can actually use it as a guide. That project terrifying you the most? That's exactly the one you need to pursue. Resistance doesn't play fair, and it brings friends. One of its most dangerous allies is what Pressfield calls rational thought. This isn't the helpful kind of thinking that solves equations. This is the chattering monkey in your skull, producing an endless stream of excuses, reasons, and justifications for why you can't, shouldn't, or won't do the work. It's your ego talking, always terrified of failure and judgment. To create anything meaningful, Pressfield insists we must bypass this rational chatter and tap into something deeper. Intuition, the unconscious, the self. Here's a surprising twist. Another ally of resistance? Your friends and family. Not because they're bad people, but because they know you as you are right now, and they're emotionally invested in you staying that way. When you try to transform yourself, it can feel threatening to the people closest to you. They might not even realize they're doing it, but their concern and well-meaning advice can become another weapon in resistance's arsenal. So if we're battling this powerful internal enemy and its allies, how do we possibly win? Well, here's the good news. We have allies too, and they're wonderfully unexpected. Our first ally is stupidity. Yes, you read that right. Pressfield points out that 3 of the dumbest guys he can think of are Charles Lindbergh, Steve Jobs, and Winston Churchill. Why? Because any intelligent person would have looked at their impossible goals and quit before even starting. To accomplish something extraordinary, you need to be slightly clueless about how difficult it's going to be, and just arrogant enough to believe you can pull it off anyway. Stay stupid. Don't overthink. Just act. Our second ally is stubbornness. Once you begin, the worst move is stopping. You don't need to be graceful or heroic. You just need to be annoyingly persistent. Be stubborn as a mule. Sink your teeth into resistance's leg and refuse to let go, no matter what. Our third ally is blind faith. You must believe in something you can't see or measure. Pressfield shares a beautiful exercise from the book Improv Wisdom. Imagine holding a small box. Now open it. What's inside? Maybe a frog, maybe a golden coin. Here's the magic. No matter how many times you open that box, something is always there. That's the faith you need. The unwavering belief that if you show up for the work, the ideas will be waiting. The inspiration will arrive. There will always be something in the box. And finally, our most powerful ally is passion. Fear is what drains passion away. But when you face down your fear, you discover a bottomless well of passion to fuel your journey forward. With our allies assembled, we're ready for battle. And the first rule of engagement is beautifully simple yet radical. Start before you're ready. Don't prepare endlessly. Just begin. The real enemy isn't insufficient preparation or lack of funding. The enemy is resistance itself. Give it even a moment, and your anxious brain will manufacture 1,000 reasons to delay. So don't wait. Jump in. Courage actually creates more courage. Pressfield is so serious about this that he prescribes what he calls a research diet. You're allowed to read 3 books on your subject. That's it. Research can easily become just another flavor of resistance, a way to feel productive without actually producing anything. As you begin, remember 2 essential mantras. First, stay primitive. The creative act isn't sophisticated or elegant. It's raw and primal. Babies aren't born in sterile silence. They're born in blood and chaos. Great ideas are the same. Don't try to be clever. Better to be simple than sophisticated. Second, swing for the seats. Don't play it safe. Don't aim for a tiny bunt when you have the power to swing for a home run. Even if you strike out completely, a home run swing beats a successful bunt every time. Start bold. You can always pull it back later. So how do you actually structure this intimidating idea? Pressfield's mentor shared advice that saved him countless times. God made a single sheet of yellow legal paper exactly the right length to outline an entire novel. Don't over-prepare. Distill your idea down to 1 page. Break it into beginning, middle, and end. That's all you need to start. But where exactly do you begin on that page? Here's a screenwriter's trick. Start at the end. Figure out your destination, then work backwards. How do you know where you're going? You answer the most crucial question of all. What is this thing about? What's your theme? Once you know that, you know your destination, and you can map the journey. He uses Moby Dick as an example. What's it about? The clash between human will and nature's malice. So Melville needed a monster. a white whale, and he needed someone obsessed enough to challenge it. Ahab. Knowing the theme, the climax becomes inevitable. Ahab and the whale battle to the death. That's the end. Now you just work backwards to set everything up. So you've started, you're moving. You're covering ground, getting that first draft down as fast as possible, as if the devil's chasing you. At this stage, you absolutely must suspend all self-judgment. The inner critic is banned from the room. Your only job is getting something, anything, onto paper, regardless of quality. Don't reflect, just act. And as you work, something remarkable happens. You begin feeling a tailwind. This is assistance, the opposite of resistance. Just as the universe resists through that invisible force, it also assists. Your work starts generating its own momentum, its own gravity, attracting ideas, opportunities, and help from unexpected sources. This is the universe responding to your love, your passion, your commitment. It has no choice. You're weeks in now. You've found your rhythm. Ideas flow naturally. The dread has lifted. You're actually enjoying yourself. It feels almost too good to be true. And then you hit the wall. Out of nowhere, terror strikes. That "you're terrible" voice returns, screaming in your head. You're halfway through, invested enough that quitting hurts, but not far enough to see the finish line. You're balanced on the edge of a breakthrough, and you can't handle it. The possibility of success looms, and you panic. This, Pressfield says, is when you enter the belly of the beast. This is your trial by fire. To survive it, you need to understand the fundamental laws of this dark territory. Pressfield lays out 7 principles of resistance. 1. There is an enemy. This isn't just a feeling, it's an intelligent, hostile force working against you. Recognizing this is your first step toward victory. 2. This enemy is relentless. It's not trying to slow you down. Its goal is to kill your dream completely, to suffocate the genius you were born to share with the world. 3. This enemy is inside you. It's not your boss, your partner, or your critics. It comes from within. You could escape to Mars, and resistance would be sitting right beside you. 4. The enemy is inside you, but it is not you. This is critical. You're not responsible for resistance's voice in your head. Everyone has it. Picasso, Einstein, your neighbor. You are not your resistance. 5. The real you must battle the resistance you. On that field of self, you're the knight and resistance is the dragon. There's no negotiating, only battle. 6. Resistance appears second. What comes first? The dream, the idea, the love for the work. Resistance is merely the shadow cast by that brilliant light. Before the dragon appeared, there was a hero. You. Remember that. The opposite of fear isn't courage. It's love. Love for the work. And 7. The opposite of resistance is assistance. Just as you have an inner enemy, you have an inner ally. It's the dream itself, the love, the passion. You can align yourself with this universal force and let it carry you into battle. In the belly of the beast, resistance administers 2 tests. Test number 1. How badly do you want this? There's only one correct answer. Totally committed. Anything less, and you're doomed. Test number 2. Why do you want this? If your answer involves money, fame, status, or proving someone wrong, you're standing on shaky ground. The only answers that will carry you through the fire are, for the joy or beauty of it, or because I have no choice. This work is who I am. This is when most projects die. The big crash happens. The funding evaporates. Your trusted friend hates your manuscript. The technology fails. Pressfield's own novel, The Profession, crashed spectacularly after he showed it to people he trusted. They hated it. And they were right. Pressfield compares this moment to Navy SEAL training. The instructors are actively trying to break candidates, to see who'll crack. They keep a bell nearby, and when a trainee can't take any more, he can walk up and ring that bell. It's over. You and I have a bell hanging over us too. The difference? We're alone. No instructors, no teammates. Just us, the project, and the bell. Will you ring it? A crash feels like the end, but it's not. A crash is actually good. It means you need to grow. It forces you to identify what went wrong. The problem isn't you. The problem is the problem. And problems can be solved. Go back to that single sheet of paper. Where did you veer off course? Face the problem you tried to avoid at the beginning. Work the problem. This is your path out of the beast's belly. You face the failure, solve the problem, and emerge wounded but stronger. You've passed the test. And now you face the final challenge, the end. Finishing is the most critical part, and it's where resistance fights with everything it has. Pressfield calls this shipping, sending your work out into the world to be judged. It takes genuine courage to declare something done. Why is finishing so brutally hard? Because of the fear of success. Pressfield quotes Marianne Williamson, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We're terrified of our own brilliance. When we finish, when we ship, we're choosing heaven over reading about heaven. We're choosing the real thing over its comfortable shadow. When we ship, we become exposed. We open ourselves to judgment, failure, and humiliation." Pressfield tells a story about his first professional writing job for a movie called King Kong Lives. He was certain it would be a blockbuster. It wasn't. The premiere was practically empty. The Variety review said, "We hope these are not their real names, for their parents' sake." He was devastated. But a friend snapped him out of it. "You're where you wanted to be, aren't you? You're taking some hits. That's the price for being in the arena. Stop complaining and be grateful." That moment, not his eventual success, was when he became a professional. When he failed publicly and chose to keep going anyway. And here's the one guarantee he can offer you. Slay that dragon once, and he'll never have the same power over you again. Yes, he'll still be there every morning. Yes, the fight will still be brutal, but you'll have beaten him once, you'll know you can beat him again, and that changes everything. So you've done it, you've shipped. You've created new life, something that didn't exist before you brought it into being. You've joined an invisible community of people who don't just dream, they do. So what now? Pressfield shares one final story. When he finally finished his first novel after 17 years of struggling, he rushed to his mentor's house to share the incredible news. His mentor's response, "Good for you. Now start the next one." And that's the final lesson. Take a moment to celebrate, then tomorrow get back to work. Start before you're ready. What makes Steven Pressfield's message in Do the Work so incredibly powerful is its unflinching honesty. We live in a world drowning in life hacks and productivity shortcuts, promising an easy path to success. This book tells you the truth instead. The path isn't easy. It's a war. And once you understand you're in a war, everything shifts. The concept of resistance is, in my view, one of the most vital ideas of our time. It gives a name to that universal experience of self-sabotage that we all feel, but rarely understand clearly. By personifying it as an enemy, as a dragon, Pressfield gives us a way to actually fight it. We're no longer wrestling with some vague character flaw, like laziness or lack of willpower. We're knights engaged in a noble battle against an externalized, though internal, opponent. That mental shift from self-blame to strategic combat is incredibly liberating. It allows us to fail, stand back up, and fight again tomorrow without feeling like we ourselves are broken. The book's real brilliance is in its simplicity. Stay stupid. Swing for the seats. Work the problem. These aren't complicated theories. They're battle commands from a seasoned general. They're designed to be remembered in the heat of the moment, when you're deep in the belly of the beast and rational thought has abandoned you completely. This is a book meant to be used, not just admired. Its pages should be dog-eared, highlighted, and coffee-stained from late-night work sessions. So how can you start using this wisdom today? Here are a few concrete actions. First, name your dragon. The next time you catch yourself endlessly scrolling social media, when you know you should be working on that proposal, that workout, or that difficult conversation, just stop. Say it out loud. This is resistance. Simply acknowledging the enemy and calling it by name strips away so much of its power. You're no longer a victim of mysterious procrastination. You're a warrior who's identified the threat. Second, do the work for 2 hours. Don't think about the entire terrifying project. That's overwhelming, and resistance loves weaponizing overwhelm. Instead, commit to just 2 hours. Set a timer. For those 2 hours, your only job is to be stupid and stubborn. Put words on the page, make those calls, write the code. Don't judge, don't analyze. Just act. You can win a battle that only lasts 2 hours. And third, ship something small. Finishing is a muscle that needs training. So today, finish and ship something you've been avoiding. An important email, a difficult conversation, one paragraph of your project. The size doesn't matter. What matters is moving it from in progress to done. Feel the fear of hitting send, and do it anyway. Slay one tiny dragon today, and you'll be stronger for the bigger one waiting tomorrow. This book reminds us that the battle for our dreams is the most important battle of our lives. It's not just about what we create. It's about who we become through the process of creating it. The work is what forges us. It burns away everything trivial and leaves behind what's essential. It transforms us into the heroes we were always meant to be. That was our journey through Do the Work by Steven Pressfield. We've explored the core strategies and the warrior mindset at the heart of this remarkable book. But let me be crystal clear. A summary is like studying a map of a beautiful country. The real adventure, the real transformation, happens when you decide to actually travel there yourself. The true power of this book comes from having it beside you during your own battles, as a constant source of strength and clarity. If any of the ideas we discussed today sparked something in you, I genuinely encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about absorbing information. It's about arming yourself for the most important work of your life. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it helped you see your own struggles in a new light, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep growing and keep fighting the good fight together.